And if we ran out of oil here, people would start eating each other.
No,
but
under Donald Trump, we were near energy independence. And I know it was a pandemic and demand was way down, but gas in some areas dropped below $2. But on average, it dropped way down. And Donald Trump was moving us towards energy independence. We are able to do it. Now, Joe Biden's doing the opposite. He's shutting down pipelines. He's saying no to fracking. Environmentalists got a problem with it. But I'll tell you what the administration, what the Democrats, what the Uniparty's done. They don't like the pollution here. They outsource it to China.
Yep.
So what they do is they say, we're going to pass all these environmental regulations, so you can't do anything dirty here. How do you solve for that then? The only way to manufacture is to manufacture in China where they don't care about pollution. So what does Donald Trump do? He says, we got to get rid of these regulations on the environment so that companies can actually come back and start manufacturing, so that Americans can have jobs, so that Americans can send their kids to good schools, if you want to do that these days, considering how bad schools are, so that we can be energy independent, so that we can use our own resources. We have the entirety of Alaska. They won't go near. We had a joke here with Jack Posobiec and Daniel Turner. Occupy Alaska, invade Alaska. It's territory that we purchased from Russia. It's there, it's open, and it is massive. It is huge. But for some reason, we're better off shutting down our own energy production, outsourcing all of our jobs to other countries, and then getting involved in wars in an attempt to justify why we need the resources from them. What's happened now with Ukraine and Europe is that we're seeing 45% inflation in Germany, which is insane. I think from the last month, year over year inflation now, it's this major spike. They've made themselves dependent on Russia, and Donald Trump was like, you shouldn't do this. Instead of solving the problems, they just passed the buck until it got too hot, and now everything's falling apart in their incompetent hands.
Was it like, you shouldn't be relying on Russia, you should be reliant on us?
You should be paying your fair share and figuring out a way to, I don't know, how about this? Don't shut down your nuclear plants. And he's like, why are you doing this? Start shoring up your energy needs. You can't just sit here and let Russia dictate how much you pay. That was the problem. Russia, through Gazprom, was able to dictate massive prices. So the U.S. was like, instead of doing any of that, let's just build pipelines down here through Syria, one of Russia's allies. War emerges from this. The U.S., in my opinion, was very happy to see the rise of ISIS because it was destabilizing Syria. So instead of actually dealing with the problem, the Democrat administration was going, oh, geez, oh no, these terrorists, they're just growing. Donald Trump gets in, ISIS crushed, Ukrainian conflict dissipating. Biden gets back in, all of a sudden, Middle East destabilization, Syria's hot once again, the fall of Afghanistan, and war in Ukraine. These people are psychopathic morons, and they think, to go back to what you said, it was a good question. If you thought a crazy person was going to take over, do you think it's right to hack an election or whatever? These Democrats think they're justified in Russiagate, Ukrainegate, and all this other nonsense because Trump is crazy. But the people supporting this are just being treated like mushrooms, kept in the dark and fed crap by the corporate press and by the politicians who just want power and don't want to actually roll up their sleeves and do hard work. The reality of the United States is that if we brought the jobs back, lives would get so much better for the working class. But those powerful elites, they wouldn't be able to exploit slave labor in foreign countries, so their net worths would go down. They don't like the idea of closing the gap of wealth inequality in this country. They would rather own the industry, send the jobs to China, pay $1 an hour, make tons of cash extracting and exporting our jobs and wealth to a foreign country. Meanwhile, the American people suffer for it. And then we get the opioid crisis, and then we get foreign war, and then they expect you to send your kids over there to die so they can keep that system going. Donald Trump comes in, and for all the things wrong with the man that is worthy of criticism, he says, hey, let's not do that. And people are like, okay, a start. You know, we had Dave Smith on the show. I'm a big fan. He's an awesome guy. And someone commented, and it was brilliant. They said, Dave says what Trump did was still bad, and that shouldn't be the standard by which we vote. And I agree, but someone commented, this problem was created over 100 years, and it's going to take a decent amount of time to solve. We can't just expect a 100-year problem to be erased. And I think Donald Trump was bringing a lot of solutions. The Abraham Accords, no new wars. These things were good. Bringing jobs back to America, bringing energy back to America, making this country about itself. Being like, we shouldn't be the world police. We shouldn't be blowing up kids, sending our kids. We should say, we're going to clean our own room. We're going to make our country better. And we're going to encourage a rising tide so that everybody's ships will rise. Instead, what we have is the Clinton Foundation, the liberal international economy, or the liberal world order, as they call it, saying we should be in charge of everyone because we're better men. I disagree.